Welcome to Flashback, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. On Monday, the Chief of Army Staff, Ibrahim Atahiru, and the representative of the Acting Inspector General of Police appeared before the Ad hoc Committee of the House of Representatives on Arms and Ammunition. This is coming weeks after the security chiefs failed to honor the lawmakers' invitations. National Assembly correspondent Chakia Adisa brought us this report.
After a series of invitations and threats of arrest, the Chief of Army Staff and the representative of the Acting Inspector General of Police appeared before the Ad hoc Committee probing the acquisition of arms and ammunition in the last 10 years. Police hierarchy insists the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Ministries of Police Affairs and Finance are responsible for the procurement of arms and ammunition for the force.
The third item is particulars of all registered contractors with your ministries, both local and foreign, for the purpose and contractual matters relating to procurement and purchase of arms and ammunition.
As he takes his seat, the Army Chief attributes his inability to come before the lawmakers to pressing security matters across the country. At this point, some confrontation ensued between the lawmakers and the security chiefs, leading to the session continuing behind closed doors.
Even the blind man knows there are problems of internal security in Nigeria.
We are all working for the progress of this country. The Chief of Army Staff has told us how he has been meeting people because of the security situation of this country.
In less than an hour, the lawmakers said they have been able to extract needed information from the Army Chief, but still required some documents.
The issue of submitting documents, some of the documents this morning, for us to disqualify this meeting on that basis does not arise, because we have some of these documents, part of it before now.
The lawmakers have promised to scrutinize all documents submitted by the security chiefs and reconvene the meeting in 4 weeks.
I've been forwarded to you.
On that same day in Benue State, 12 military personnel in Bonta Village, Konshisha local government area of the state, were laid to rest. Governor Samuel Otom commiserated with President Muhammadu Buhari and the Chief of Army Staff over the killing of the army personnel who died while trying to ensure peace in troubled areas of the state.
A solemn gathering for people to witness the burial of 12 military personnel killed in Bonta Village, Konshisha local government area of Benue State. The remains of 12 military personnel, including 1 captain and 11 soldiers, were committed to Mother Earth in the presence of Benue State Governor, Commander of Operation Wild Stroke, Major General Adeyemi Yekini, and the commanding officer, 72 Battalion, military personnel, as well as family members of the deceased soldiers. The state governor passionately asks for forgiveness from the families of the deceased for the uncomplimentary comments he may have made in the course of the situation, which is said was based on the information available to him at the time.
Attack on security men is attack on all. This attack is unwarranted. It was not needed. For all these patriotic soldiers were there to keep peace. I equally want to apologize to the families of the bereaved in the course of my trying to manage this challenge. If I said anything that was offensive to the families of the bereaved, I want to say that I'm sorry.
The deceased military personnel, led by Captain Adeolu Adedayo, admit their death while trying to clear an illegal roadblock mounted by a local militia known as Bonta Boys at Bonta Village in Konshisha local government area of the state on Easter Monday.
The souls rest in perfect peace.
peace.
But still on Monday, the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, announced the start of this year's Ramadan, which later commenced on Tuesday. Following the sighting of the moon, the Sultan, who is the president of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, urged all Muslims to use the occasion of the holy month to pray fervently for the country and indulge in acts of charity so as to benefit maximally this month. The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs also issued a guideline enjoining the Ummah to practice social distancing during this season. Ramadan is the 9th lunar month of the Islamic calendar, seen as sacred by Muslims, during which they refrain from eating, drinking and sexual activities from dawn to dusk for 29 or 30 days, depending on when a new crescent is sighted. On Tuesday, the presidency announced the arrival of 6 of the 12 Supertacanos ordered from the United States, which is expected in Nigeria in mid-July. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu, who revealed this, said 14 Nigerian pilots are currently training with the aircraft at the Moody Air Force Base in Georgia. Mr. Shehu posted a video of what appeared to be a test flight operation on his verified Twitter handle. This announcement is coming a day after the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, appeared before the House of Representatives Committee to clarify the purchase, use and control of arms, ammunition and related hardware by the military, paramilitary and other law enforcement agencies in Nigeria. Well, also on Tuesday, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, in company of some lawmakers, met with the National Association of Resident Doctors at the National Secretariat, where he pleaded with the doctors not to resume the suspended nationwide strike as they threatened. The Speaker also assured them that he will meet with the Finance Minister to tighten all loose ends.
An august visitor at the Secretariat of the National Association of Resident Doctors. It is the first time a highly placed political figure is visiting the resident doctors here, and the hosts are glad. Femi Gbajabiamila's visit comes days after the doctors suspended a national strike that crippled government hospitals. The Speaker says he is here with other leaders of the House to appreciate and encourage the doctors in their service to the nation.
In all sense of humility, understanding the issues and the position you occupy as resident doctors. I believe it is the first time any government official will come here to have a meeting with you.
He says the onus is on the federal government to ensure the suspended strike is not revisited, as he plans to meet with the finance minister. The Speaker assures his hosts that their demands will be included in the expected 2021 supplementary budget.
I have asked the chairman to link up with my chief of staff to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance next week to the office.
It is an opportunity for the doctors to again reel out a list of demands, both in the immediate and the near future. These include an upward review of doctors' retirement age to curb brain drain, payment of salary arrears from 2014, and housing for doctors.
I hope that other leaders will take root from examples from what and where we are going in the health sector. And we hope that in the present years to come, there will be more priorities laid to the health sector.
The Speaker of House of Representatives even came to NAT Secretariat to see now because they know the importance of doctors, they know the importance of healthcare workers, and it's quite historic.
The resident doctors are excited about the Speaker's visit, but more importantly, they look forward to the implementation of all issues leading to the suspension of the strike. They're hoping that within the next 3 weeks, their demands will have been met.
Wednesday marked 7 years since 276 schoolgirls of the government girls' secondary school Chibok, Borno State were abducted by Boko Haram insurgents. The incident drew a global outcry that birthed the #BringBackOurGirls movement, and despite continued efforts to secure the freedom of the girls, 112 are yet unaccounted for. Now another campaign was launched on Wednesday in Abuja tagged "Until All Are Free" to get the remaining girls out of captivity.
Nigeria's kidnapping crisis came to world attention in 2014 with the abduction of 276 girls from Chibok town in Borno State. The girls were preparing for their final year examinations when the insurgents attacked in the middle of the night. The Bring Back Our Girls campaign has since gained a voice following its campaigns for the release of the girls. It is 7 years after and not much has been achieved. The group says it is launching an Until All Are Free campaign to get the remaining girls out of captivity.
The thing is that we have a government that thinks that the people don't matter and Nigerian citizens are not important except when it is time to count our ballot papers. That's when our thumbprints matter.
In its 7 demands, the group asked the government to bring back the girls without further delay. They also call on the government to provide a comprehensive report on the status of all investigations, operations and missions to bring back the remaining 112 girls, and to also release the report by General Ibrahim Sabo.
Has become a symbol of a terrible sickness in our nation. We should face it. And as we face it, we'll be able to resolve a lot of other issues.
TVC News spoke with Rebecca Samuel, mother to Sarah Samuel, one of the girls still in captivity. She is still in grief. She tells me her daughter was 17 years old as at the time of the abduction, but will be 25 years old by December this year.
She said, let government double up their effort, even the same way they have secured the life of 107. Let them secure this also. It is not good.
There have been several other abductions where government had successfully engaged in negotiations to release the abducted. The Amnesty International report says over 640 students have been abducted between December 2020 and March 2021.
Well, also on Wednesday, the federal government described as untrue the claims made by the governor of Edo State, Governor Obaseki, stating that 60 billion naira was printed in March to fund federal allocations to states. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, also countered the alarm that Nigeria's debt profile has risen. Mrs. Ahmed told State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting that, contrary to unfounded claims by Governor Obaseki, what was distributed at the monthly Federation Account Allocation Committee meeting was generated revenue from government institutions. She emphasized that the country's debt is still within a sustainable limit, and the current debt that is at 23% to the GDP is still sustainable. Well, on Thursday, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Alkali Usman Baba, unveiled a new policing vision and crime-fighting strategies for the Nigeria Police Force. He made the new operational protocols public during the inaugural conference with Zonal Assistant Inspectors General of Police, Commissioners of Police, and other heads of police formations in the country. And he did this at the force headquarters in Abuja. The acting IGP also ordered the disbandment of the IGP monitoring units, satellite offices in Lagos and Port Harcourt following complaints of harassment and accusations that they were operating beyond their bounds. He said the move, which is part of a reform program of the police, is also meant to address rising cases of human rights violation.
I have directed the immediate reform of the IG monitoring unit. This involved the disbandment of the satellite offices of the unit in Lagos and Port Harcourt, the streamlining of the personnel profile of the unit at the force headquarters to a number not more than 50, The banning of the unit from undertaking any criminal investigation, including taking over cases from commands. Under the current dispensation, the unit will only operate within their original mandate, which is to investigate complaints of professional infractions that may be alleged against any serving member and as may be referred to them by the Office of the Inspector General of Police.
Well, also on Thursday, President Muhammadu Buhari arrived in Nigeria from the United Kingdom, where he spent 2 weeks on a medical vacation. The president, who departed the country on the 30th of March, had explained through his aides that the trip was for his routine medical checkup and not an emergency case, as he was not sick. On his arrival, he spoke on the appointment of the acting Inspector General of Police. He also charged the acting IGP and service chiefs to do more in combating the security challenges in the country.
We went through the system. There was a committee by the Minister of Police Affairs, and they gave me some names, and he happens to be the one chosen. And he knows his job. He has been in it for a long time. He went to all the training. He has the necessary experience. So we expect, we have high expectations from him. They have been in the system all the way. They know what is wrong. They know what is right. And I think they are doing their best. I hope their best will be good enough for Nigeria.
And on Friday, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency said 1,439 persons across the country reported mild side effects after they received the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Executive Director of the agency, Faisal Shoaib, disclosed this in Abuja at a media briefing organized by the agency and the World Health Organization to give an update on the status of COVID-19 vaccination in Nigeria. Kemi Balogun was at the briefing.
It's been just over a month since Nigeria received its first batch of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and within this time, the vaccines have been distributed to all states. 53.2% of eligible persons targeted out of the 70% have been administered with the vaccine in this vaccination phase. This joint press briefing with the National Primary Health Care Development Agency and the World Health Organization is to give an update on the COVID-19 vaccination in Nigeria.
1,071,346 representing about 53.2% of the eligible persons targeted with the AstraZeneca vaccine.
In many states, the inoculation of frontline health workers has been completed, and the vaccination of the elderly, particularly those above 65 years, is ongoing.
While we continue to optimize our registration and immunization data system, we also encourage the state teams to deploy the most suitable internet service.
The fears of blood clotting continue to be at the forefront of talks, with the World Health Organization still strongly recommending the continued use of Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine for all age groups.
And the occurrence of rare blood clot with low platelet count is considered plausible but not confirmed.
A note of warning has also been sent out to Nigerians jumping the queue ahead of eligible Nigerians who need the vaccines the most.
Well, finally, on Friday, court workers in Nigeria said they would commence a national protest on Monday, the 19th of April, to further compel authorities to implement financial autonomy for the judiciary. Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria began an indefinite strike on the 6th of April to demand adherence to the Constitution. Our correspondent Jackie Addis has sent in this report.
For these court workers, the struggle for the realization of financial autonomy for the third arm of government is not negotiable. They also accuse the states and the federal government of failing to implement the peculiar allowance approved for courts 5 years ago. For days now, activities at the nation's courts have been paralyzed, with the industrial action taking its toll. The striking workers have had interactive meetings with the Labour and Employment Minister, the Nigeria Bar Association, the House of Representatives, and other concerned groups and individuals. But the last-minute cancellation of another round of meetings on Thursday by the Minister of Labour and Employment gives them some concern. They have resolved to begin peaceful protests to drive home their demands.
But peaceful protest is guaranteed under the law. So we cannot rule out any means that we can use.
We've sent messages to all our colleagues, our members within the country, that from Monday there will be a peaceful protest.
They criticized comments credited to the Sokoto State Governor, Aminu Tambuwal, that the states were still working on the framework and modalities for the implementation of financial autonomy for the judiciary.
For a governor to tell us that they want to now look into it, it's like dancing around the circles.
Monday's protest is to tell the Accountant General of the Federation and the Attorney General of the Federation that they have a constitutional right to fulfill.
The Labour leaders say their members are becoming more agitated, especially because the Thursday meeting was cancelled with no reason and no new date was put forward.
Well, that wraps it up on Flashback and the news tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it.